Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another topsy-turvy day in the world of Malamarkets, where we analyze the Pokemon trading card game in terms of market analytics and buying and selling and trading cards. Today, we are doing a case study on the amazing rare cards because they're a new set and they're a new set of cards for this modern set. So let's see how they have been doing. Yes, in case you missed it, like I said, there is a new rarity, but of course, we already know you didn't miss it. We know most of you know this, but just in case you did miss it, here's a quick summary on these cards that are now available in this set. Amazing Rares. I'll spare you the rest of it, but essentially, Vivid Voltage and Shining Fates. Here are the Vivid Voltage cards here. You can see 6 of them, and here are the Shining Fates cards. It's essentially a rainbow background on the Pokemon card that kind of extends out of the hollow area, typically in the card, into the rest of the card, with Vivid Voltage coming out in November, 6 cards, Shining Fates in February, 3 cards. Those are the 9 cards in Amazing Rare that are out right now, and yes, they were super hype when they came out, and everyone was super into these cards. Everyone is still super into these cards. So let's put on our Swami hats for a minute here, and not only predict how these cards are going to do in the future, but analyze, well, did they live up to the hype in the short term as well? Now that we've had some time for these sets to settle, let's see financially how they are performing in the market, starting with the heavy hitter, the Rayquaza. Now, Rayquaza is obviously one of the more popular Pokemon cards that exist. You can see here from all of this eBay data, there were over 6,000 between October and November when it came out, and today, at the end of June, early July, 6,000 raw sales, 250 plus graded sales. Now, you can compare the raw price here at the bottom. It started at 52, ended 16, whereas the PSA 10, I included the BGS 9.5s in there too. Those had a decent amount of sales too. You notice that there was a similar curve where both started high and both dropped. And since October to June, about 1,100 cards of these have been graded and came back. In the entire population, not just in the 10s. Just so you know, there was a black label that sold for close to $1,700 in February, which I didn't include. Crazy high point. Obviously, the Rayquaza has performed well despite the drop, and now here is the Celebi. We see a lot of similar results with the Celebi, too, even though the raw card started at $42 and dropped down to $9 now. $236 to start, $110 today, and there was a black label Celebi there, too. Pretty awesome. Wish I had that one for myself. That sold for about $810 in December. Now, again, over 200 graded sales, 5,000 plus raw sales. There's a lot of data here to unpack. And the PSA population of this, a little bit less than the Rayquaza, but still pretty high at the 572 amount as of, again, about July 1st. So, despite the drop, this is still a popular card, still seems to have performed well, despite the fact that it overwhelmingly performed well out of the gate. Now, Zamazenta. I included Zamazenta from the Galar region because, well, I played Pokemon Shield over Sword, so I prefer it over the Zacian, even though Zacian on paper is a more popular Pokemon. And once again, we see a similar result here. Less total sales, with about 3,500 raw sales and 150 plus graded sales, and you can see a similar price drop there. But again, for an amazing rare set, something that was, I believe, replacing the reverse holo in these sets, and I believe in the Vivid Voltage, at least, you get about 2 of them per booster box, somewhere around there. Performed extremely well. The population of this Zamazenta, about 451 as of the date of this video, too. So, it's not quite as popular as the Zacian, but still, for a card that, is almost like a shiny vault card, if you will, from the Hidden Fates era or the Shining Fates era, in that it's replacing that reverse holo slot. Pretty popular card, so it kind of lived up to the hype, even though the initial hype was so high that it seems to have dropped down since then. But we'll analyze these numbers in a second after we kind of go through the Shining Fates set as well. And here we are with the Kyogre. This is the one I chose from the Shining Fates set because the more popular of the 3 of the Amazing Rares in the Shining Fates set. Now, this started super low. This started only at $16, whereas the other cards were a little more expensive to start from the Vivid Voltage set. But it dropped down to $4 too today, which is a crazy, crazy low price for this card. Obviously, a testament to how widely available Shining Fates is now. But the graded sales still high. 5,000 plus raw sales, 30 plus graded sales. Very low PSA population, though, less than 100 still. And that, well, a large part of that is because PSA closed, as all of us know, on March 31st. So people weren't really submitting these through Express or some of the lower grading tiers. And if they were, they're not getting them back any freaking time soon, obviously. So that's why the population on this one is lower, just released sooner and then PSA closed down, even though now we're in July and this set was released originally in February. So as you can see here, though, there's a lot to unpack. Now, after all of that, was the amazing rares, the 9 that we've had thus far, were they worth the hype? Was it a good investment? Well, as we've kind of alluded to and you've seen, all cards maintain this shape on the graph comparing their raw cards to the graded cards, which indicates very high demand but also low supply. High supply, and that is why the prices have dropped so rapidly. But every card had a 10 to raw ratio, which is the 10 grade value to the raw value of about 5 to 1, which indicates still high demand, but initially low supply. People who were first to market on grading those cards got a super high value on their returns, and obviously back then too, when these sets were coming out, PSA Express was returning consistent profits because PSA Express was not as freaking expensive as it is today now that it's over $200, which is insane. Now, the other factor to consider here is that the 10 to raw ratio actually increased. So despite the fact that both the raw and the graded card values were decreasing pretty rapidly, the raw card value, because it was so widely available and the graded cards were not as available, even though they were a little available, the raw value decreased much more quickly than the graded value. Now, quick caveat to that point, this is delayed because graded cards take a lot longer than they used to come back, but still long, even in general. The value to compare, the present raw value to the present graded value is not really accurate. Technically, you would have to go a couple months back to see the raw value there to compare with the future graded value. Just a quick caveat. Now, the other caveat here is clearly the more popular mons performed the best. So, Rayquaza, Celebi, Kyogre, and yes, I'll throw the Zacian even here, even though I'm a Pokemon Shield player myself, but the Zacian is objectively a more popular card than the Zamazenta. Now, initially when these sets came out, everyone was super, super bullish on these cards. Oh, these are cool, they're going to be popular. Hey, listen, I agreed. I thought they were awesome. But now people seem to be turning because the values are dropping so dramatically, and because, with PSA closed and with prices rapidly increasing to grade these cards, the graded cards that are out there and probably still in delay in PSA are probably going to be slowly introduced to the market. So even though there was that initial hype and now there is that drop in demand for these cards because people are like, there's a lot of them, I can get them non-graded, whatever. The inability to grade these cards and now the increase in bulk pricing and all that kind of stuff, and the fact that PSA has been closed may give collectors going forward some pause when grading these cards, even though they're widely available, because future sets are coming out and people are, like squirrels, ooh, shiny. And now they're looking at new sets and grading those cards. So based on that, in the short term, while we still haven't gotten any graded values or anything like that, I'm super bearish on these amazing rare cards. Very cool cards. I want them in my collection, but I don't think they're going to change in value short term versus long term. I think that there may be an opportunity for these cards to actually rebound and go back up in value because there are new sets that come out. They were popular cards initially, and because PSA closed, they blocked down avenues to increase that graded supply population quickly. It's clearly going to depend on how many are sitting there at PSA waiting to be graded. Now, for future sets, though, as more amazing rares come out, because PSA is still closed down for the most part, besides the outrageous express pricing, I think these are going to blow up in the future. I think more sets that come out with these kinds of cards are going to be awesome and very valuable, especially when the graded population is kept lower by increased prices for PSA, even if other grades like CGC and those kind of vendors, these cards are going to be available. What do you think? Let us know in the comments below. I'd love to get into a discussion about this. Thanks for watching our video and hope you liked it, and we'll see you in the next one.